This is Behind the Mic with Brad Dalius.
Live from Kings Cove inside the Toyota Sports Center in El Segundo, California, it's Behind the Mic. Welcome in, everybody. Brad Dalius, Keith Jackson with you on this Thursday evening, April the 19th, 2018. Philadelphia, big winners tonight over Miami in Game 3. They win by 20 points. They ultimately pull away. As Keith Jackson was saying earlier on tonight, too much Joel Embiid. He is a problem. That was evident tonight as he came back out there. Last night we talked about how it looked like he was not going to play tonight. It was a game-time decision. They were testing it out on the court with the mask. Everything looked good to go, and it was true as he was ready to go. He filled in very nicely tonight, getting back in that lineup. And again, Philadelphia, they took down Miami in Game 3 tonight. So we've got that going on. Golden State and San Antonio in action in Game 3 as well. Good start so far by the Spurs, trying to avoid going down 0-3 in this one. Obviously, Popovich is out tonight. You heard the news earlier today. Due to his wife's passing yesterday, he is not there. And then the later game tonight will be on NBA TV, actually, which is Portland and New Orleans going on right now. And New Orleans, big lead. As both Keith and I like the Pelicans in this series. It's turned into somewhat of a mismatch. So we'll get to all those games in just a second. Big show for you tonight, by the way. The NFL schedule came out just a few hours ago. We've got to get to a lot of different games. I think Rams and Charger fans are going to be very, very excited when they look at these schedules for a couple different reasons. One being the fact that the Chargers are going to play in London in 2018, and the Rams will play in Mexico City. More on that to come. Dodgers talk comes your way just after 7:30 tonight. We'll talk with Dustin Nosler. He'll check in from Dodgers Digest, and also he is the co-host of the Dugout Blues podcast on iTunes. So we'll talk with Dustin all about the Dodgers and their first series win of the season. As I was telling you yesterday, a good remedy for this team was the San Diego Padres as they swept them away last night down at Petco Park. So we'll talk all things Dodgers with Dustin at 7:30. As I mentioned, we'll get into the NFL schedule around 8 o'clock or so. The Giants released Brandon Marshall today. We'll talk about that one. We somewhat foreshadowed that the other day, Keith.
Absolutely.
So it's funny, the timing as far as the Giants releasing him today. And Dwight Freeney, he also retired today, or he's going to be retiring, actually. The Colts announced that they're going to hold a press conference early next week. It looks like they're going to do one of those deals where Freeney signs for like a day contract, retires with the team. And also, if we have time at the end of tonight's show, also making news today was Lance Armstrong. It's hard to believe that this has gone on for this long, but he was sued, obviously, by the United States several years ago after he admitted to doping. And he and the United States finally reached a settlement in that fraud suit. We can talk about that later on tonight as well if we have time. But now, Keith Jackson.
Yes,
what's going on?
Man, a whole lot of sports and basketball today.
Yes.
It was a great day to watch games. You know, I told you I was interested in that Philadelphia-Miami game. And like I told you earlier, and like you said, you know, it was just too much Joel Embiid. I think the call was right. I think Joel wanted to play. They gave him the nod. He went out there, he produced. And quite frank, he outshined Hassan Whiteside. So, with that said, you know, I still think this game is going. I think this series is going to 7. It got out of hand at the beginning of the fourth quarter.
Because this was a good, close, competitive game through 3.
They put it's a certain lineup when they go fast. When Philadelphia goes fast, then that's when they get their lead, and then they bring back Joel Embiid, and then they close the deal right there, and that's exactly what happened. They had They brought in with Ben Simmons, J.J. Redick, Marco Bellinelli, the power forward. What's his name? I keep forgetting his name.
For the Sixers?
Yeah, for the Sixers. I forgot it. I'm gonna pull it up right now. Anyway, what I'm getting at is that they spread the ball out with Ben Simmons. He drives, he kicks, and he's got four. Oh, and they have Colston playing too. Colton playing as well.
Are you talking about Saric?
Yeah, when they have Saric and Colton.
Oh, those two together. Yeah.
When all four, five of those guys are on the floor, they have Ben Simmons drive, and either he has the option to kick it to the four snipers on the side, and when they do that, they spread them out, and then they put on a run, and that's exactly what happened today. So, I can't see. I think Miami will make their adjustments. The game was close; it got out of hand towards the end, and then they brought in Joel Embiid. They pounded inside, and Hassan Whiteside was not stopping him. So it was too much. The game was over after that. So, like I said, I think it will go Game 7. It'll go all the way to 7. I think Miami will pull out the next game. But what a series. Yes, a great series. This is a great series. It's very entertaining. And it was the one I wanted to watch out of all the series in the first round than most of them. That was the one I wanted to see.
2 ways to listen to the show tonight, BehindTheMicShow.com, and you can also download the Behind the Mic app. Check out our podcast on iHeartRadio. To call in, 213-261-7491, 213-261-7491. Now let me get this straight. So it was a 2-point Sixer lead. I think it was 96-94 at the end of 3.
Yeah.
So they closed the game on a 32-8 run?
Yes, absolutely.
Ooh.
They went speed, and they just ran them out the gym. They went speed and ran them out. Joel Embiid didn't come back into the last 2 minutes of the game. And then they just pounded inside.
Yes, I didn't see the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they pounded inside to him, and he scores, and that's it. But you know what else I wanted to take note on is the PG. The point guard they got is the point guard they have in there that's backing up Ben Simmons is not Markelle Fultz, but it's Bayless they have. I think it's Jared Bayless they have.
Uh-huh.
He not Jared Bayless. It's the younger one. It's the not Markelle Fultz. I'm pulling him up right now. Oh my God, I can't believe I can't find him. TJ McNeil, it's him. When they bring him in, he's a better backup than Markelle Fultz right now.
He had 5 points tonight.
Yeah, but it's not TJ McCollum. Help me out here. McConnell. TJ McConnell. The problem is that he does intangible things that help that team win. It's not what he does. It's not me about points he scores or anything like that. It's the intangible things he does. Moves the ball very well. He runs the plays. He stays within his game. And that's why he got the most. I think he was more productive than Markelle Fultz was, for sure.
And that's not surprising, honestly, because Markelle Fultz, obviously, it's been a big question mark with him the whole season, even going into the playoffs. We talked about it a little bit last night on the show. Would we maybe see him more tonight? And he played a couple minutes in this one, 4 minutes to be exact. But, again, he just doesn't have that impact yet. And
yeah.
I don't want to be too unfair to Markelle Fultz because I think he has gotten a lot of unfair treatment in his rookie year. He is just a rookie, number one. I think we should all remember that. He was injured for a period of time. So I'm not willing to say by any stretch, I don't want to overreact about Markelle Fultz is what I'm really saying. I don't want to say that this is a guy who's never going to have an impact on a game. Because I think he could at some point in time. He unfortunately for him in the sense, it's somewhat of a double-edged sword how good the Sixers team has been because it has spotlighted the terrific performances from a lot of different guys on the team, such as J.J. Redick. You mentioned earlier about McConnell here, obviously what he's been able to do, Bellinelli. But on the flip side of that, it also spotlights the guys who are maybe not contributing. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's different for like the Atlanta Hawks, for example. No one knows. Either way, the team was so terrible this year. But a team like Philly, who has been, on the rise very slowly the last few years, for it to all come out this year, Markelle Fultz was just kind of in the middle of this whole thing as a rookie. So you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
this is not the best analysis of him this rookie year.
Well, I think what you got to look at is it's matchups and series. And the thing is, Markelle Fultz probably doesn't play well and won't probably play well in this series because due to the matchups. And also, remember, he's only been back for like only a month or so.
That's exactly.
So it's going to take some time for him to get back. But and it's just fortunate that it's postseason when he came back. He came back towards the beginning of postseason. But when you look at this, and I look at this game, what I'm starting to see is that T.J. McConnell is actually, he has a feel of the game. He's moving the ball well. He just stays within his game. He's like that role player that can really help you, and he's great. He's a great backup for Ben Simmons. Now, Marco Bellinelli has been phenomenal this series with his 3-point shooting and his field goal, and it's just when you add him with J.J. Redick, it's very hard to double because they do the same. They have the same style of play. They come off the screens, and they're a catch and shoot type of players. Those are the type of players you want, and they do a great job running their stuff. They have a great balance of a guy like Ben Simmons who can go to the boards, who's a 6'10" point guard, can get to the rim anytime he wants, and then you got Joel Embiid who's coming in, who's your basically Hakeem Olajuwon.
Not a bad guy to come on in.
Yeah. That's the type of player he is. He plays like Hakeem Olajuwon. He can shoot the three. He plays very well with his back towards the basket. And, there's not too many centers out there that plays like him. And so I believe probably one, maybe LaMarcus Aldridge, who's pretty decent playing, but he doesn't have this type of finesse that Joel Embiid has. So with that said, I think it's going to go 7 games. But for some reason, I don't know why I'm leaning more towards Miami knocking them out than the 76ers. Today, what the 76ers showed me, though, was that, remember we said, I wanted to see what would they do when they're down. And I thought today they were down. They played a real tough, gritty game, back and forth the whole night, and they stayed close. They stayed in it, and they prevailed, and they ended up blowing Miami out. But I don't know. I just think that with the group that the Miami Heat have, if they didn't make those certain mistakes, they would have probably pulled that game off. If they stayed what they were doing for 3 quarters, and I think they would have pulled the game off. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next game. It's hard to tell, but they're dead. They're 2 dead even teams. They're good in all assets. They both play some good defense. They both got outside shooting, and they both got guys who can create and get to the basket. So it's a great series.
You have to give Philly credit. When you go on a run like that to finish a game in the fourth quarter, you really can't even blame the opponent. It's just superior basketball. And like you said, Keith, giving the examples here of a lot of different guys, their ability to be so multi-talented. And I can't underscore enough how talented Joel Embiid is of an athlete. This guy's unbelievable. I mean, just imagine like 10, 15 years ago in the NBA, a center stepping out and just drilling threes. Yeah. That's like Shaq stepping out and drilling threes for the Lakers in the early 2000s. We just didn't see that. It just underscores the point of how more in shape and how just more versatily talented these guys are down below, and how they can just move out now and create different shots for the team. This is obviously why so many people think the Sixers can make a very deep playoff run here. And if they play like this, they definitely could. It's just a matter of being more consistent with it, and why they don't do what they did at the end of the game in the fourth quarter tonight throughout the course of the full 48 minutes. Yeah. But it's a young team that you figure would come with time. So we'll have to see. But this, to me, was very impressive tonight, honestly. Yeah. For it to be 96-94 at the end of the third and to run away with it 128-108 at the end, one of the more impressive performances in any quarter of the postseason so far.
Yeah, by far. And I'm surprised, to be honest with you. I didn't think they were capable of doing it because they were a young team, and I know young teams